Good evening, everybody! Welcome to round 3 of International Sim Racing Organization's 1978 DRM campaign, coming to you from the Nordschleife. There's a good look at the pits in the Nordschleife. A mythic track which we are really pleased to present to you. And I'm joined in the booth by Jonathan Asserclint. Jonathan, how are you?
Been sick for the past couple of weeks, so good to be sort of back on pace and to be racing tonight. Looking forward to it.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you feel better soon.
I am already. It's just small bits and pieces left, so to speak.
Okay. Well, anybody who's a racing fan doesn't need to know where we are this evening and the significance of it. This is the Nordschleife, the legendary 14-mile Nürburgring. And I've been on this track myself, not as a driver, because I don't trust my own abilities in the real in the real world, but I've been on this track as a passenger before, with someone who knew what they were doing, who had done enough laps or logged enough time at the circuit to really have a clear idea of what they were up against. And I can tell you, if you're a racing fan of any kind and you appreciate the skill and the technique that it takes to make a lap around the Nordschleife, this is something you need to experience firsthand. Put it on your bucket list, because it is absolutely one of the most hair-raising, if not terrifying, experiences you can ever have. Have you ever been to the Nordschleife in real life, Jonathan?
No, I haven't, but I would love to do so. I'm not sure if I would like to do the lap myself or ride along, because there's two aspects of: do I trust the guy or girl I'm riding with, compared to do I trust myself to not crash the car I'm driving? So, but yeah, I'd definitely like to go. It's, as you say, it's one of those tracks along with like Bathurst and I suppose Indianapolis, where you really should go at least once in your life and experience the excitement.
Yeah, it really, it's a track that you find yourself, as you're going around, if you're a passenger at least, you're hanging on both sides of the seat, like the bolsters, with your fingers just like kind of clenching, you know, and you're just trying to keep calm as you're going around, because it's actually, I would wager it's scarier if you're in a situation where you actually you don't have control of the vehicle. When you have control of the vehicle, you know what you're doing, you know where you're pointing the car, and you have a confidence in your own ability and in the equipment. If you're a person who doesn't have the control of the vehicle, then it's a situation where you're putting your faith in the other person. You know, so the anxiety level is a lot higher.
For sure.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, one thing you can do is you can communicate to Juha that we were having some issues earlier, just getting the broadcast up and running, but now everything is cool, and I'm gonna send you back over. If you could communicate to Juha that we're up and running and everything is good and the normal lead time is okay. Okay, that's great. Thanks very much. The old saying, you know, if anything can go wrong, it probably will. Just audio issues, but in any case. This is a race that we've been looking forward to. It's going to be a difficult race to call because, unlike previous races where we've had two separate races for different groups, it's a situation where we have both divisions, 1 and 2, on the track at the same time. And so we're going to be paging back and forth between them. Now, this means, of course, that, you know, that it's about an 8-minute lap in the fastest cars, I would think, around here. So that means, you know, with 7 laps, that's what we're going to be doing. If I go back and look at the track map itself, yeah, 7 laps around.
can probably expect around 8-minute 10, 8-minute 15s.
Yeah.
Race pace around here.
So that means we're looking at roughly an hour's race, more or less, and that's for the leading cars coming through. So once the field gets spread out, there's going to be very much two different races going on. But we'll do the best we can to cover both of those as we continue with this broadcast. So some important things to think about before we go into the race, of course, are where the driver points are in the 1978 DRM series. Thiago Canola is currently in the lead after 2 rounds with 35 points. David Yunt is in second with 32 points. Anders Nilsson is in third with 27 points. And then it's a 3-way tie for 4th place between Coxon, Lacina, and Team with 20 points apiece. Before, we had all these oddball ties that were occurring, which were kind of strange, and that was because we were awarding points for both divisions in the same column. Now we don't have to worry about now things are spread out a little bit more, so there are less ties. We got the ties for 4th, but it looks like a little bit more of a normal table that you would expect in a series like this. Now, another thing to point out is this is also going to count as a Lucas Vidra trophy race. And here are the LVT points as they stand right now, with Thiago Canola in front with 15 points, Anders Nilsson in second with 12 points, John Team in third with 10 points, David Yunt, I'm always at odds as to how to pronounce that, but he's in fourth with 8 points. Fifth is Cezary Sklopinski with 6th. So that gives you an idea of where we are with the Lucas Vidra Trophy. And if you want an idea of how those points are distributed, you can look over at the forum, and that'll give you an idea. But this is also going to impact that particular championship as well, probably just because of the size of the circuit and the grandiosity of it. That's probably why we chose it. Now, as I've mentioned before, those of you who haven't done this series before or haven't watched it before, just some fast facts about it. It's an 11-round series for FIA Group 5 class cars. The venues consist of street circuits, airport circuits, which are everyone's favorite, and permanent circuits like the one we're on today. The field consists of Division 1, which are the big cars with the big wings and like the Porsche 935s. Those are above 2 liters. And then you have Division 2, which are under 2 liters. And that consists mainly of BMW's smaller cars. And I believe you're going to be driving one of the Batmobiles, correct, Jonathan?
I suppose calling it Batmobile is very apt. One of the 2002 BMWs. There also are in Division 2 BMW 320s, naturally aspirated and turbocharged. And you have I think it's still the Ford Escort, one in each division for this race. If I'm not misremembering that too badly.
And this is, of course, as I mentioned, one of the races where we're going to have both divisions running in the same race. 3 rounds, the field will be combined and qualifying race held simultaneously, and that's one of these races this evening. So we're going to do our best to switch between the action back and forth and give you a full idea of what's going on. It's obviously a lot easier to do that when we have 2 separate races, but the scale of the Nordschleife is going to definitely make things more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's roughly 24 kilometers for cars to cover, so it'll be a bit like the endurance races of modern day, where you'll probably have clusters of cars running together, and then maybe 1 or 2 running on their own, and then another cluster of cars along the way.
Okay, yeah, so it's going to be one of those situations where we switch back and forth as much as possible. All right, so cars are heading out now on their warm-up session, which is 10 minutes left. Has 10 minutes left at this point. Here we see Gabriel Sterry. Oh, goodness, getting some air there at the Flugplatz already. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of that.
Possibly. I think it's more likely to have it at Flansgarten, actually, which is it's a very sharp crest heading towards Kleines Carousel, the small carousel, where you have you come through a left-hander and you go over that crest, and it's all 4 wheels off the ground going over that, and then you have a streak of, I think it's 4 corners at more or less full throttle 5th gear. So that's going to be an interesting place to watch as well, I'm fairly sure.
Now, if you could familiarize myself with what the start procedure is going to be for this race. I saw it briefly on the forum.
Yeah, of course. So it'll be 2 divisions, obviously. Division 1 will set off for the formation lap, and Division 2 cars then leave roughly 15 seconds to the Division 1 cars. The Division 1 cars will be giving the D1 green signal as they head. All of them has gotten off the Betonschleife, the shortcut that can be used on this track back in the day. And then roughly 15 seconds later, when Division 2 cars are all off the Betonschleife, the Division 2 race will start as well, with a D2 green signal instead.
All right. Well, that's gonna make for some rather interesting logistics, but we'll see how that plays out.
Well, I would assume that because it's 7 laps and more or less an hour's racing, I think most guys will be taking it just a tad bit easier than they did at the Norris Ring last time out.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, you do have a little bit of runoff in some cases here. That'll give you a little bit of space to recover, but there are those barriers there, so it's not going to be very easy for a lot of people. And there's never a situation. I remember reading a quote by Jackie Stewart, who said, there was never a case where he felt that he made a lap around the Nürburgring where he didn't make a mistake. And we're talking about a 3-time world champion here, so I doubt that's going to. I doubt that's going to be a situation for anybody here. I've never done a perfect lap around here.
I know for a fact I haven't either. I mean, it's 167, I think, corners on this track. So compared to a track like, let's take Road Atlanta, I think there's 14 turns around that track. That's quite a sizable racetrack, to be fair. But I mean, 14 turns to make a mistake, that's probably a mistake every 20 laps maybe, if you're proficient. 167 corners in a single lap. That's probably at least a mistake a lap. Possibly more. And the thing here, because of the blind crest and stuff, if you make a mistake around those places, it's probably the last mistake you make of the race.
And there's also the thing to consider about that's under ideal conditions, right? Yeah, obviously now it's a situation where we have ideal racing conditions. It's a sunny day. There's not a cloud in the sky. Well, there's some, but in any case, it's not a situation where you have a river running across the road, which often happened at the right before you entered the foxhole at the Nürburgring. So something else to keep in mind. What else can we go through here? Oh, other items of interest coming up next week. I don't know if you're planning on broadcasting this race, but it's the Dutch Grand Prix, round 3 of 10.
Preliminarily, no, but we'll wait and see.
All right. Well, if you need graphics, you're going to have to let me know in some capacity. But that's definitely coming up soon. And race start for that is at 2000 CET, not at the normal time, not the 1900 CET, because before it was 100 laps at Monaco and we needed more time. But in this case, not going to be a different start time. Trivia Yeah, trivia question for you to ponder for this race. Who holds the race lap record for the now demolished Nürburgring Südschleife? Which was, yeah, I know, this is going to be a tough one, which was 7.747 kilometers around, or 4.814 miles. Is it A, Jackie X, B, Ronnie Peterson, or C, Jim Clark? We'll let you know later on in the broadcast.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, so Gabriel Sturr and Fredriksson are now heading towards... this is actually the long straight portion of the circuit here, where they reach maximum speed. You can see actually that it's right next to the highway, this portion of the circuit. Can you imagine in the old days, going down this section and having hedges on both sides?
Imagine, to some extent, I suppose, yes, when I'm in the car. Is it something I would have liked to experience being there personally? No. I don't think so. I mean, this track and the layout is still back from when, let's just say that the cars were punch-through material.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where if something breaks on the car and you were to go into those hedges, probably not coming back out the other side.
Yep. All right, so we got about 2 minutes 50 seconds to go here. Give me 1 second.
I believe Jan Tim is very soon to come to that Flansgaten crest. If you want to have a look at that before the race starts.
Let's see, page 3.
Currently 13th.
There he is, yeah.
So
Looks
you
like...
come over this crest here, and you go down through this section, then down to third right-hander.
Man, he's letting it all hang out all over there.
Yep. And that was the crest right there. And then you have these very fast sweeping turns right after, where you really holding on to the steering wheel for dear life.
And there's that little mini kind of carousel that leads you onto the longer straight, and he's stopping now because probably he's like, okay, that's enough for now.
So, about a minute to go.
Going back
Go on.
No, just going back to the... oh goodness, this is already... oh, I see what's going on.
And I'd say, while you're sorting that out, I would say based on the pace shown so far, I reckon either Johan Boos, Anders Nilsson, or maybe Gabriel Sturr will have some would say Ruben Fernandez as well in Division 2. And I reckon most likely that it'll be Canola, or Jake's with a black horse in the form of Wilkes in Division 1 for this race.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a fair assumption. All right, so reading once again, I'm going to go through this, and Jonathan talked about it, but I'm going to go through it one more time. When the light goes green, Division 1 pole sitter will start the formation lap at a speed of 120 kph up to the shortcut, and when entering the shortcut, maximum is going to be at 50 miles an hour. So it's going to be a staggered start, as you said, right, Jonathan?
Mm-hmm. About 15 seconds between.
Okay. All right. So we're going to use that. We're going to use that time to go through the grid itself. John and Juha has also given us good facts to go through as we talk about this race, and of course, as cars get spread out, we're going to need those to keep things interesting, I'm sure. But Jonathan, do you want to stay on, or is it okay? I mean,
I'm good. I can always just mute microphone and sound if I feel I'm getting distracted. But for the start, I should be fine to stay along, and I'll let you know how it goes later on.
All right. Well, I appreciate that very much, because I want to make sure that it's difficult calling a race like this when it's just one person. You know that.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Okay.
That's why I'm offering up to be here, mate.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. So going to the front of the grid now. I'm actually gonna probably start this sooner than I normally would. Okay, so on the pole is Tiago Canola, Weissenberg Jello Team 06. Second is Slipinski. Oh, that's a combustible front row. Scorpio Racing number 31. David Jakes is third in the Valiant entry. Fourth, Richard Wilkes, Minolta Kramer Team number 4. Grant Riddall is fifth. ASA Kasia Seiko. Seventh, Matthew Sibignani, although he keeps going back to eighth. Eighth, Dave Miller. Ninth, Jules Bouchard, Weissenberg Jello Team. 10th, Alan Santo. Bruno Chacon is 11th, I believe. Yes. 12th, Mick Chapman. 13th, Gabriel Sturr, who we've been following. 13th, Mick Chapman. 14th, Filippo Marazzi. 15th, Mikael Drexler. 16th, Francisco Amaral. 17th, Alberto Ibanez. See how Alberto does in this race. 18th, Juha Boss in the Worth Hot number 50 entry. 19th is Anders Nilsson. Ruben Fernandez is 20th. John Team 21st. BMW Schweiz number 90. 22nd, Ray Riddall. Sachs Sporting number 55. Jakob Fredriksson, BMW Swedish number 62, or Sweden. Alberto Aquino is fluctuating between 22nd and 23rd. Wilmer Johnson, who was a star of our previous race, the map Zach Speed. Brian Janik is 25th. Martin Lucina, 28th, 29th. K.O. McKills, Francois Remen is way at the back here. And then we got Angel May just entering the cutback, and Oscar Team 27th. God goodness, there's a lot more here. David Saber, K.O. McKills, Francois Remen, Angel May, Oscar Team. And we're already into the start of the race. My goodness. That was quick. Tiago Canola leads. And you can see them heading on the backside of this loop that leads onto the Nordschleife proper. And here we go. Onto the main Nordschleife, 14 miles. Tiago leads, Schlipinski second, David Jakes is third, Grant Riddall fourth, Richard Wilkes fifth, Gabriel Sturr is sixth. And now there's a long, long gap that's going to take us to the second group. And here they come right now, with Juha Boss leading this group. And he is currently running 18th overall, but that is the Division 2 section of the field. So we're in Sector 1 of the Nürburgring, and this is a situation very much where you look to exploit mistakes by your rivals. Because as you can see, it's a pretty narrow circuit. But here we go. Look at that. There's the Flugplatz. Cars heading over the rise, and you have to get the car immediately situated for the next turn. So it's quite hair-raising coming around here. Not the most comfortable of corners coming up, but and here come the oh my goodness, look at that. The Division 2 cars also getting some air. Canola still leads. Schlipinski is in second. He's keeping him right with him. We're actually coming up now to, I believe, Adnar Forest, which is a very difficult section because as you're coming down the foxhole, it's very easy to get overconfident and take too much speed through that section. But here come first, second, third cars. Canola doing a good job. I would imagine, I mean, under normal circumstances, keeping control of these cars is very, very difficult. But on a circuit like the Nürburgring, lots of horsepower under your foot there. Here's a look from inside Schlipinski's car. And he has to think about not only this championship, but the, well, all these drivers have to think about the Lucas Fiedler Trophy as well. And as Jonathan alluded to earlier in the introduction, we're thinking about a situation where about 8-minute laps, roughly, for the top contenders, for the ones who are in Division 1. So definitely it's going to be a situation where the oh, this is a really interesting part right here. I believe Jackie Stewart mentioned that not far away from this section of the course, the X-Mule, there was a hospital. Very, very convenient was his comment on that. Look at this now, Schlipinski. This is actually one of the faster sections of the track, although you have to really, it's a one-groove racetrack. Look at Canola running a bit wide there.
Ooh, that's a crash. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I think Johansson and someone touched.
Oh, goodness. Now, let's see. Yeah, because we have a massive field here, more than I would have expected. But there it is. Drexler's getting his bearings again, but heading back now. Yeah, Boss is heading along here in what is, I believe, the lead car of the Division 2 series, but you can see that he's got Nilsson right with him and John Team. Oh boy, here we come up to the famous carousel. And you don't want to pop out of that carousel too quickly. If you do, the car is just going to go straight over to the barrier.
Indeed, that barrier has taken many prisoners.
Look at that! Look at that. Boss is actually going on the inside of a Division 1 car driven by Francisco Amaral. So I'm actually really surprised. I was expecting there was going to be more of a delta between these two sections, but apparently not. Look at this. My God, it's a real traffic jam here as Boss is making his way through these cars.
Oh dear, there's contact. Amaral spins.
Goodness. Well, that's the end of that situation. Let's take another look. What happened there? Amaral, keep your eye on the blue car. Oh yes, Amaral ran onto the grass. That's what happened. All right, so as we continue here, we're looking at Juha Boss leading his division. Although, let's see. No, Miller is in the Division 1, so yeah, definitely it's Boss leading this group. But look at it, good grief! There's so much action going on behind him here. Cars tripping over each other, and they're in competing divisions.
Well, a lot of these cars are actually Division 2, so it's. I think the leader of this train, whoever that is not going as quickly as.
No, it's Bruno Chacon, and now Bruno is going to be able to stretch his legs going down this long straight. So you may see a little bit of separation. Of course, there is going to be some slipstreaming going on, but my goodness. Heading down this long straight now. Oh, there you get a good shot there of all the different vehicles. There goes Dave Miller through. And of course, look there. You can see how Chacon is spreading out. But take a look at this now. Now there's a battle between Fredriksson and Nilsson heading down the long straight. Nilsson's going to get it done. I'm sorry, Fredriksson gets it done ahead of Nilsson. John Team is right behind them. So there's excellent competition going on here in Division 2. And now that they've had that lap, we're on lap number 2 out of, well, this is the first proper lap we're completing, correct, Jonathan?
Yep.
Yeah, according to, even though it says that it's lap 3 on the chart, that's because of the pace lap that was built in. So now with that long straightaway, it's going to give us more of a barrier between Divisions 1 and 2. Go back to the front here just to make sure that we are not missing anything. Yeah, here is Canola leading. Schlapinski is in second. There's a little bit of a gap that's opened up there. And then we got an 8-second gap back to Jakes. Here he comes with Grant Riddall in 4th place. And now we're waiting for the black car of Richard Wilkes as he crests the rise. Stir, Matthew Sibignani, Pascal Mikola making an appearance. He is 8th. There he is, heading over the crest. There's Drexler. And Dave Miller is in 10th, who's actually quite a ways back here. But it's interesting how Canola is pulling out quite a sizable gap so far.
That's disappointing.
What's going on?
Stack up behind a Division 1 car, and unfortunately a couple of us span.
Oh no.
So unfortunately I picked up a little bit of damage, and I think a couple of others may have picked up a little bit of damage too. But oh well, still running, so let's see what happens.
See, oh goodness, I'm seeing the aftermath of this, unfortunately. I'm gonna run this back, see if we can see what happened. Oh yeah, this is part of this big. This is interesting. There's actually a Group 1 car or Division 1 car mixed in. Yeah, okay, now I see what's going on. This is in Sector 1. So from your point of view, heading through Sector 1, oh goodness, Nilsson went off the track to start
Yeah,
with.
he had to take it
And
on
then,
avoid
oh,
it
and
first.
Team. Oh, and Team, actually. I believe it was Team who spun there. So yeah, there's quite a lot of, yeah, goodness, yeah, so a bit of a reactionary stack up there. That'll happen.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when everyone is running close together.
Mm-hmm. And limited places to go.
Indeed.
Oh, John
And
Team was...
unfortunately, Richard Wilkes has retired, I just saw here.
Ah. Well, we didn't see exactly what happened there, but as Juha Boss is running in 11th place right now, you can see Fredriksson and Nilsson are still having a good dice for Division 2, second place. Oh, yeah, Wilkes has retired. Yeah, he's going to be dropping down the order quite quickly now. Oh, this is going to be interesting here. Nilsson might have a decent shot here. Oh, Fredriksson spins out, and well, that's the end of that. Fredriksson spins the car, but it doesn't look like he incurred much damage. Looks like he's continuing on without too much trouble. Yep, he keeps going without too many issues, but he lost that position. That's going to give Nilsson some breathing room that he needs. Yeah, now you're starting to see the real separation here between these cars. Although there is, see the interesting bit about this. Oh, Sibignani's got a problem, it appears. Yeah, Matthew Sibignani is slowing down. He's in 11th place now, and he's got his lights on. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Could be, might have scraped the wall and picked up a puncture.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the case. Let's see if we have a replay or what happens. Oh, that's far later, but yeah, he's had some kind of issue which is sending him down the field, but he's doing the best he can to try to stay out of the way of everybody, which is not easy to do here. He's using his lights in some cases to alert people to the fact that he's having an issue. Yeah, so Fredriksson, he's now running by himself, and then you got Nilsson, who's trying to close on Boss. But again, a lot of times here at the Nürburgring, it's a situation where you're exploiting other people's mistakes. It's not you rarely see a situation where someone slipstreams alongside somebody and takes a position. It's a situation of you wait for an opening, you wait for something to go wrong for the guy in front of you, or girl as the case may be, and then you pounce. You strike. But look at Nilsson. He's right with Boss right now. And you can see how the gap is opened up between Boss and Division 1 driver Dave Miller. Okay, now this is going to be interesting. They're heading into... They're in the third section, the third section of the track, which... it's funny. It's the one that people always know the least about because they crash usually in practice before they get to the third sector.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, but that aside, it is also one of the most challenging sectors to drive because there are many times when the car leaves the track. But Boss is holding his own here, doing quite well. As they enter the Schwabenschwanz. which is quite literally a swallow's tail. Now this is where it's going to get interesting, because Nilsson can use the slipstream to possibly get alongside of Boss as they come down this long straight. This is the longest straight on the circuit, identified by the long hedges. Well, it's a little more distance than I thought, actually. But you can hear that engine screaming. He's doing the best he can to try to keep up.
And that's the normally aspirated versus the turbo cars.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's another difference that's important to note. Yep, there goes Boss, there goes Nilsson. Back behind the pits one more time. Miller soldiering on. Let's go back to the front here, see what's going on. Canola continuing to lead. Slipinski in second, not far behind. Staying close, 4 seconds, or actually 4.6. Grant Riddall is in third. David Jakes in fourth, staying in close contact. Fifth, Gabriel Sturr. He has a bit of an off-course excursion there, but he has another one here, actually. Gabriel is, he's going to have to be a bit more careful, and that's probably another one of those examples there of coming down the foxhole and heading into the Adenauer Forest section, where it's easy to be overconfident going through there. Here's Drexler running in 6th, and Miller 7th. Pascal Mikola is 8th. And here is the 9th place car, Juha Boss, leading Division 2. And I think you're right, Jonathan, it's the difference there of the turbocharger between these two cars, between Nilsson and Boss, correct?
Yep. Nilsson is naturally aspirated.
Oh goodness, Boss is a little bit of a bobble going into Adenauer Forest, but is able to recover without too much trouble. Of course, the disadvantage of a turbocharged engine is that things don't happen as quickly as you would like. But the response of a normally aspirated engine is going to be probably more welcome in most places around here, but in any case, interesting, the two of these joined at the hip a lot of the time. Considering the distances we're covering here, it's very easy to lose touch with somebody after just such a simple miscalculation. Heading now down into the valley. X-Mule coming up in a minute after this drop here. I believe there's a bridge coming up. Well, heading up to this is X-Mule now, actually. Let's look a little further back in the field, see if there's any other action going on. It's all pretty spread out. Here's K.O. McHeels driving a similar car to Jonathan's. Looks like he might be actually missing a front clip, which is going to adversely affect his handling. No question about that. Bruno Chacon soldiering on, and he's actually Division 1, so he's a bit lower than we would expect for Division 1. But look at this. Here's Saber, Jonathan, and Al Aquino all together in a very tight battle. '17th, 18th, 19th.
I'm fairly sure I'm quicker than Saber, but I can't find a way past him yet. It's one of those things with this track, unfortunately.
And yours is turbocharged, correct?
Both of us are.
Yep. Well, this is one of the quicker parts of the circuit.
Yep. Aquino is the one who's suffering from no turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, this is not the place to pass either.
No. That's another thing about this place. You can find yourself in a situation where you have the momentum to overtake somebody, but it may not necessarily... Oh! Alright, now I'm worried I'm distracting you.
No, it's not. It's me trying too hard to find a way past. That's my fault, not yours.
Alright, fair enough. Oh, coming up to the famous carousel. And when we're done with this lap, believe it or not, we'll be halfway there. Oh my goodness! Saber has a huge off, impacting the barrier. Well, that's one impediment out of the way, unfortunately.
That's unfortunately one of those OPP moments.
Yes, it is. And poor David Saber now finds himself on the outside of the barrier. Oh, actually, you know what? He does a very creative thing. He used a hill to get himself back over the barrier, and now he's back on the racetrack.
That almost makes me think he might have been off there once or twice before in practice.
Perhaps. I mean, right there on your right, actually, in the picture, you can see an entrance. So there are, if you do go off over the barrier, that's not the end of the race necessarily for you. There are places where you can get back on. Sections in the barrier that are kind of staggered, but Saber continues on. But that was a very opportunist moment for sure. Alberto's continuing on, 24th. And it looks like the rest of the field pretty well strung out. Oh my goodness, I just noticed something. Alberto is missing he's missing his hood. So something must have happened there. Santo continuing on. But of course, he's driving a Division 1 car, so he's been having issues from the start. Angel May taking it very cautiously, 26th. Matthew Sibignani, it appears, has made his pit stop in his 27th. Doesn't appear to be having any issues now, so I think your supposition was right, Jonathan. It was a puncture. Out of the race, Lucena. Mick Chapman is making a pit stop. And Wilkes out of the race, as is Francisco Amaral and Ray Radal. And Jules Bouchard. So 33 cars in total started this race, which is way more than we're used to seeing. That's probably why it's considered a LVT round as well, just because of the sheer scale of it.
Oh, Grant Radal has just retired.
Oh no! Let's see what happened here. This goes pretty far back. I don't think we're going to be able to see it. Give it another few seconds here, see if it no. Yep, Grant is out, unfortunately. Oh, look at this battle forming up here between Drexler and Brian Janik. It could be interesting as they head towards the Nordschleife once again.
Oh, Cesar Shlapinski and Ray Riddle is out.
Oh my goodness! Well, there goes part of the competition for. Look, that's strange to me because it has seemed to happen so quickly. Thinking maybe a disco. I don't know.
Could definitely be a possibility.
Yeah, because he doesn't appear anywhere on the list, which is very interesting. It's almost as if he never started. In any case, Canola leads. Jake's in second place. Stur now running in third. Mikkola is fourth. Dave Miller is fifth. And Boss is doing his very best to stay ahead of... Wilkes is saying that Cesarius had a lot of damage.
Ah. That'll do it around here. I mean, it doesn't take much to make the car very dangerous to drive here.
Yeah, to the point where you're like, I'm just going to go ahead and park it.
Yep.
Here we have a nice little battle developing between Ruben Fernandez and John Team. Ruben looks like he has a slight problem going into Adnar Forest, and that might actually benefit John Team. There's Cesarius. Yeah, he ended up 23rd. Okay. I see. So this must have happened far earlier. So back to the battle we were looking at between Ruben and John Team. It's actually broken off a little bit.
That's another turbo versus non-turbo, I think. I believe Jon has a turbo while Ruben doesn't.
Well, you're coming up now in KO McKeel's, and I can report to you that KO is missing a front wing. It doesn't seem to be troubling him too much, but interesting Batmobile versus Batmobile here.
I think he was sitting in behind me, so he could have broken that front wing off my rear end, I'm afraid.
Oh, interesting.
Back when we had that congregation at Sector 1.
So believe it or not, we're over half distance now in this race. Oh, KO runs a little wide onto the grass there. So does Jonathan, but I suppose that's easy to do in this section. Oh, Jonathan, shoot.
You shouldn't have told me that. That
Oh,
distracted me, though. Knowing that he was doing something.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's my fault.
Perhaps you should mute me.
No. My fault, not yours.
All right, well.
Just hope I don't have a puncture. Oh, I do.
Oh no. I'm terribly sorry. It's amazing how close some of these drivers are together at this point. Canola continuing in first place. And it should be another 21 seconds back until we reach, trying to get an idea of the distances here as we have a bridge that's just after the long straight here. We should be seeing David Jakes appear at some point. Here he comes. Race is about 34 minutes old. And here comes Gabriel Sturr in third place. Tiago is making a pit stop. That's interesting. That promotes David Jakes into the lead. There goes Tiago, so he only loses one position. So the question is now, can he close back up again? Here comes Gabriel, but he is not going to be able to catch Tiago before the loop. It takes him back onto the backside of the pits. So that's an interesting strategy. Some people are deciding to pit for tires, others are not.
Well, it's certainly a thing in Division 1. It's not as much of a thing in Division 2, I don't think. Due to us being a lot closer as well. In terms of out and out pace.
Oh, I see. The pace itself chews up the tires more.
Yep.
Gotcha. And we have Dave Miller stopping as well. There he goes. So he's stopping for tires. It's interesting because
Bagnoni has decided to park the car. It looks
no.
Like. Sorry to
Well,
cut you off.
No, it's all right. It sounds like he probably had more wrong with it than they could fix. We caught him when he was trying to get out of the way of people, but Juha continuing on here with Nilsson. Actually, now that stop by Miller brings them more in contact, but there's other. Drexler is emerging from the pits, it appears here, with John Team closing in. Wilmer Johnson in 12th place, Janik in 13th, KO in 14th, Little Al in 15th, Francois Remen 16th, Filippo Marazzi 17th, David Saber running alone in 18th, and here comes Jonathan. So you're going to be pitting to fix that puncture, I guess.
Yep. Way too slow over the full lap with a puncture, so.
Well, sorry if I played any role in that.
No. It's just one of those things. I was slightly trying to look ahead as well, so I missed my braking point by about half a car length. So in these cars, you can't miss your braking point. It's just one of those things.
Right. I suppose finishing here at the Nürburgring is a victory in and of itself.
Yeah, certainly, and I mean there could still be a lot more retirees, so. It's
So,
one of those tracks where anything can happen, and it definitely usually does.
yep. So Jakes is continuing on in his valiant Porsche in Division 1. And as usual, is driving a pretty flawless race. Is not making any big mistakes. Canola is in second after his pit stop. So the question becomes now, can he... There's an 8.6 second gap there. The question becomes, can he... I mean, that's quite a distance to cover. Even over a lap like this, it would take a big mistake on the part of Jakes in order for Canola to close that gap. But Gabriel Sturr running in third. Mikkola is in fourth. That's a great it's a great position for him, considering he's not I don't believe he's a regular runner in this series. Miller is in fifth. Great performance for him. And Juha and Nilsson are still very close together, considering the difference in power there between the two. And the only reason they're really close to Miller at this point is because Miller made a pit stop.
I don't think they'll be complaining about being close to him, though.
No. But interesting situation here as they come onto the long straight. This is where the... Well, no, actually, this is second sector, getting closer to where the carousel will be. But... yeah, it definitely looks like through this section that Nilsson is a little bit faster than Juha. He's trying to find a way around, but not having much success at the moment. This is where the turbocharger on Juha's car is obviously helping him. This is our first of 3 visits to the Nürburgring in this series, albeit the third one will be on a short Bettenschleife, which is just basically the front and back of the pits with the loop. In the actual schedule, this round was round 3 as well, but round 2 was also at the Nürburgring. 1978 was the 41st running of the Eifelrennen, which started in 22 as a race on public roads before construction of the Nürburgring. So the history of the race actually predates the track itself. That's interesting.
Well, the Germans were always motorsport interested, so...
Yep, no question about that. DRM also was a support race for the 78 Eifelrennen, and as you noted, as you may have noted at the start of our broadcast, the program cover actually has a open wheel vehicle on it, so this clearly there were other things being raced that particular weekend, not just DRM. But Nilsson now is right with Boss as they come through. They are now into the third sector here. Look at this. Oh my goodness. He's looking for ways around him, but you can't really find any. It's really thin through here. There's not a lot of room for Nilsson to get around Boss, but he's trying his damnedest. I think Juha's car is performing a little looser than Nilsson's, and that might be why Nilsson is also having some success in these areas. It's just a matter of finding the right way around. But then, of course, as soon as Nilsson finds a way around Boss's car, assuming he does, they'll come to the long straight and the turbo will kick in, and then Boss will be gone again, which could be very frustrating.
Yeah, and this sort of needs to find a way past, presumably before the Flansgarten section, so he can open up just a bit of a gap.
The hard part here too is that you have to focus on you have to drive your own race. You can't look at the car in front of you necessarily, because if you start doing that, your timing goes off, and you find yourself in a situation where you could very easily make a mistake. But these two extremely close together. Oh, Nilsson might have had a chance there, but Boss with protecting the inside. Now Nilsson definitely has a chance as they're coming up to the little tiny carousel, and he does it. This is in Schwalbenschwanz. Nilsson gets by Boss.
Now the question is, can he open up a gap or not?
Well, it's going to be interesting because they're coming now to the long straightaway, and the prevailing wisdom would be that Boss will be able to power on by. But I think it's pretty clear at this point that Nilsson has the better handling car, if not more power. Now we're going to probably see it on this long straightaway. Yep, Juha is already flashing his lights, and he goes by. So Juha back in front of Nilsson as they head down the straight. It didn't even take him all of the straight. He was by relatively quickly. So if Nilsson is going to exploit the handling difference between himself and Juha's car, he's going to have to do it in a section of the course where it's twisty and do it earlier. The other question is, are Juha's tires giving him trouble?
Most likely because of the turbo kicks. Yeah,
the turbo kicks definitely would give an issue. And we've got a couple more cars there in the pits. Actually, Canola's back in the lead now. David Jakes is pitted for tires. Gabriel Sturr is up into second place, so Canola is back leading the race as we've been busy watching this battle for supremacy in Division 2.
Wow, that I didn't expect.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. Yeah, and there's Bruno Chacon, I believe, in the pits as well, making a pit stop. But after they come around this time, we're going to be starting what is the last lap of the race as Nilsson goes on the inside and takes Boss again, going into the... okay, now this is interesting because now Nilsson is ahead of Boss as they head into the lap proper. So now Boss's tires may be really starting to give him some problems, and this is where it gets really twisty. He doesn't have the advantage of the turbo in a lot of these situations. So this is really a prime opportunity for Nilsson to stretch out a lead on Boss in some way, shape, or form. There are going to be some quick sections coming up here, but nothing compared to the long straight heading now down towards Flugplatz. Getting a bit of air there. Yeah, I think Juha is having some issues there with the way the car is handling, but yeah, while the entire meeting for this race was called Eifelrennen, the main race in 1978 was an F2 race that was held the same weekend, and the winner of that race, Alex Ribeiro, was considered the winner of the Eifelrennen. So there you go. That gives you a further explanation of what was going on that weekend in 1978. And we thank Juha for preparing these notes for us. Ronnie Peterson apparently made his only appearance of the year in DRM, writing off a car in practice, crashing the backup two, and then blowing the engine in the repaired backup car in the final practice, so he never actually started the race.
They gave it a red hot go, at least.
Yeah, at least he can't say that he didn't try. Division 1 was dominated by the George Lewis team, qualifying 1, 2, and 4, and finishing 1, 2, 3. In Division 2, Hans Heyer in the Escort number 52, which Al Aquino is driving, set pole, only finished 4th. Marcus Hodiger claimed his first DRM win in the number 57 BMW, which is driven by Nilsson in this case.
Very apt if he does get to win.
Yeah. Oh, Nilsson had a bit of a odd situation there. He, oh man, yeah, you can really start to see where Juha's rear tires are giving up there. Some serious trouble there. Miller is in 4th. So let's have a look at where we stand now in the race itself. I'm going to go through the whole field. Tiago Canola is in the lead, and he's obviously Division 1. Gabriel Sturr is in 2nd. And he's also Division 1. David Jakes, also Division 1, is in 3rd. And then you have Dave Miller, who's also Division 1 in 4th. So then we're looking at the lead of Division 2, which is being contested between Juha Boss and Anders Nilsson. And probably one of the hottest battles on the track. We've seen a lot of it. Michael Drexler is in 7th. Pascal Mikkel is 8th, and he is being caught by Ruben Fernandez, who is in 9th. And then we have Fredriksson and John Team running together here. This is an interesting battle.
Into Swede as well.
Yeah, Inter Swede as they're coming up to the carousel. John Team following Fredriksson at this point. Wilmer Johnson in 12th. Brian Janik 13th. Not far behind. K.O. McKeel's in 14th, and he is being hounded by Little Al. So here's an interesting little skirmish going on. It looks like Little Al's trying to find a way around. But
that escort is very, very nimble.
It is, but it is fair to say that the Batmobile that KO is driving is extremely wide, so it's going to be hard to
that is true.
Hard to find a way around it.
I'm sort of envisioning the Love Bug with Herbie the Beetle, where he moves the rear end of the car around to block.
Oh man, I remember that scene.
That's sort of what it feels like sitting behind one of these 2002 BMWs.
As you can see where it's built out. Little Al clearly has the faster car, but he is having difficulty finding a place to get by. Then you have David Saber in 16th, Filippo Marazzi 17th. You're running in 18th at the moment. 19th is Francois Remen. 20th, Oscar Team. In the other Fruit of the Loom entry, number 56. Alberto Ibanez is making a pit stop. I doubt he's going to want anybody to fix the car at this juncture. As there's Chacon exiting the pits, as we are now heading into what is going to be the final lap for the Division 1 cars. So it is important to head back to the front there in a moment. Mick Chapman's in 22nd, Angel May 23rd, Bruno Chacon 24th. And then out of the race, these are the retirements: Santo, Sibignani, Schlapinski, Radal, Lucina, Wilkes, Amaral, Ray Radal, and Jules Bouchard. But here comes Canola, and this is the final lap of the race for them. Canola heading up after the Flugplatz, now heading through a very fast section, which if you don't know it, it's very easy to lift the throttle, thinking that you need to brake earlier than you do. Making a left-hand turn now and heading towards the entrance to the Foxhole, which is a very, very fast downhill section. You have a nice gravel trap there, one of very few that you see at the Nürburgring. Now heading down The foxhole itself, very much a one groove portion of the track.
And that gravel trap became very famous for, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago now, when there was a hailstorm during a 24-hour race, and everyone was on slicks and came down there, and everyone just piling off.
Oh my goodness. Well, nothing like that today, thankfully. That's the other thing. That's the other thing about the scale of the Nürburgring, is that it's such a big track that you can have very different weather systems in different parts of the track and not know about it, unless you have radio contact with the pits and they have some kind of way of tracking the weather. But in any case, Canola continuing on. Here is Jakes just now entering the foxhole on his final lap as they come around. So we've seen a lot of hair-raising excitement throughout, but a lot of close quarters driving. Actually, surprisingly good close quarters driving, where people were able to keep it together. Gabriel Sturr now entering the foxhole in third place, doing a very good job. Very smooth, very consistent. And David Miller entering the foxhole now, driving his BMW. Now, as you'll note, as you get to the end of the foxhole here, you get into what is this very uphill section. You turn left, and then you have to rapidly start decelerating to get to Adenauer Forest, which is a very tricky section of the Nürburgring. Getting it right can be tricky. There's one film reel out there of people just getting it wrong one after the other at Adenauer Forest for that particular reason. They just get overconfident going in. And look at this. Oh my goodness. Juha and Nilsson right together at the aforementioned Adenauer Forest. And Nilsson looks like he's going to be able to make an attempt here. He's trying, but does not appear to have the horses to get it done, unfortunately. They are trying he's trying his best to find a way around, and he might yet find a way. Because this entire section up here, well, there's going to be some fast sections coming up that'll help Juha, but Nilsson throughout. Oh, look at that. See, Boss is having difficulty with his rear tires, and Nilsson looking for a way around, and God, it must be really frustrating. Boss runs off the track. Nilsson looking for a way to get by, and is having... He's bottled up right behind him, and he just keeps finding situations where Boss loses momentum, but he can't get by. He's not in a situation where he can exploit the loss of momentum of Boss. Heading up the hill into X-Mule. Oh no, Nilsson! Nilsson has gone onto the grass. Well, that's probably going to ice it for the race, because he just lost a little bit of momentum there. And that's probably going to take care of it. But as we head into, I believe, we're getting close to the end here. Third sector for Canola as he continues on. Or has he already completed the... No, he's in the third sector. Okay, so we haven't missed it. Good.
He's got about
a quarter of a lap to go. Here comes... Oh, he's coming up now to Schwab and Schwanz, not wanting to make any serious any mistakes here. You can see there the castle at Nuremberg. Coming out of the small carousel and now heading on to the long straight for the final time. Very masterful drive by Canola, stopping at just the right time to change tires. And then, of course, we can surmise that Jakes did the same. But in overall pace, definitely, it was Canola who had the upper hand most of the way. Another shot at the castle there again. All right, Andrew's getting close to Yuha again, I'm told. Yes, he is. So it may not be over yet. Yep, he's probably going to have another... Might have another shot here, but the problem is they're coming up towards... Oh my goodness. And there it is. There is the end of the race for Thiago Canola. He wins at the Nürburgring in Division 1. Congratulations to him. David Jakes is now heading down the long straight. Gabriel still in third, fourth Miller. We'll see if anything is transpiring here in the battle between Boss and Nilsson. But I would think that Boss will be able to hold him off once they get onto the long straight. We'll see. Nilsson, you got to give him credit, doing everything he can. They're side by side at this point. Oh my goodness, there's contact between the two of them. And Nilsson has run off the circuit again and is now onto the grass. Well, you can't fault Nilsson for trying. He gave it his absolute best that he could have. There is Jakes crossing the line in second place in the Valiant Porsche. And now we're waiting for Gabriel Sturr, who is entering the pit complex now, I believe. Yes, he is. Coming across the line to finish in third place overall. There he is. And not far behind is Dave Miller, and he finishes in fourth place. Congrats to him. Juha outlasting the many repeated attacks by Anders Nilsson. And here he comes into the main section here, where the pits are, and he's going to come across the line in fifth.
And it's his first finish of the year.
Oh!
It's a win. He has blown the engine twice.
Nilsson
previously.
comes across. Drexler comes across to finish in seventh, just behind this group. Fifth, sixth, seventh. Here comes Ruben Fernandez finishing in eighth place. He's very happy, flashing his lights.
I think just finishing this race makes anyone happy.
Yeah, Fredrickson finishes in ninth. John Team comes across in 10th, so very close there as well. Brian Janik finishes in 11th place. Excellent finish for him. Wilmer Johnson comes across in 12th. And here comes Little Al, who is motoring along in 13th.
He's gotten past Michiels in that case.
He has. I'm looking for him. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. He's like, it's the timing and scoring doesn't caught up with it yet. Oh, it's 56 seconds. So yeah, there's definitely he was able to exploit some kind of difference there. But Little Al is going to finish 13th overall. Oh, and Francois Remen is reporting that his engine let go in the final lap of the race. That's too bad.
That's again one of those things that can happen. It's a long race.
Yep.
It is a lot of wear and tear, no matter how much you look after the car and the engine.
Yep, Little Al comes across the line in 13th. And K.O. McKeels is 14th, but he's like coming to a grinding halt here on the long straight. Has he possibly blown the engine, or something's happened? He's either blown the engine or he's run out of fuel or something, but he's right against the hedge there. That's unfortunate. He's not going to be able to finish. Yeah, he's out of the race. That's too bad. So here comes Johnny Aces down the long straight. And it appears you'll be finishing in 15th after you pass by where KO was.
As long as the engine lasts until the top of the hill over here, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the race, the server has closed the race because it's taken too long.
Oh well. So that was the 41st ADAC-Eifelrennen, and or the support race as it was, and a little bit of a difficult race to cover, but I want to thank Jonathan for giving me a hand, even though it's very challenging to drive and to do and to talk about it as well. But I really appreciate your heads up in a couple of situations, many situations actually. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. It's one of those where when you talk enough during a race, you learn to do it with relative ease, as long as you're not paying too much attention to everything being said.
Mm. And here's our race winner, Tiago Canola. Congratulations on the win. You stopped for tires at one point, and then it appears that David Jakes did the same. I would gather that the power going to those rear wheels was chewing up the rubber quite a lot, lap after lap.
Yep. Thank you guys. Yeah, correct. I think the tires wouldn't last to the end. The lap time would drop quite a lot. I think the best strategy was to do a tire strategy for the race, and as you can fuel the car at the same time as you change the tires, that came very handy.
So were there any hair-raising moments throughout the race that really got to you?
I think the first lap, mainly I was very concerned about turn one, if someone could perhaps miss the braking point. And these cars with cold brakes and tires, they're very tricky to brake, to stop. And I was a bit concerned about turn one, and after that, I think everything was pretty much controlling the pace, not trying to get too greedy with the car, just like keep the car like very steady on track, don't overhit the rear tires, keep the RPM low, and I think that was the plan since the beginning, and I think it worked.
Well, congratulations. Any victory at the Nordschleife obviously is a big one. Doesn't matter what you're driving, but good job. Juha, you're also in here, and you, I believe you're the winner of Division 2, correct?
That is correct.
And
you work very hard for it.
Yes, he did. You guys got lots of TV time as the two of you were battling it out. I would gather that the turbocharging in your car is basically what saved you in a lot of cases from being overtaken. We witnessed one situation where Nilsson got by in the third sector, and then once you got onto the long straight next to the highway, you were able to just take off.
Yeah, my plan was to run low boosts, except on the straights. As soon as I kept him behind me, I lowered the boost, saved the engine. On the straight, I went up. That was my best attempt at keeping the engine alive and ending out in front of Anders. Unfortunately, he got in front of me at one very annoying point, so I had to boost up far too much than I wanted for half a lap. That was a bit scary. And as soon as I got back in front, I dropped it and I started crawling around in front of him. Because that's making the most of what I have. But it was really hard work, but great fun. Really enjoyed it. And if I'd finished second, I would have been just as happy.
It was interesting to watch because Nilsson, in many cases, looked like he had the momentum to overtake you, but you were a solid car sitting in front of him, which made it difficult for him to capitalize on when you had situations when you had lack of momentum. But anyway, thanks a lot for all the highlights. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you.
And let's move on now to our trivia question and answer. And this is one I'm curious to hear what everybody thinks of this one, because this is probably going to be a shot in the dark, but it's a bit of an obscure piece of Nürburgring history. Who holds the race lap record for the now demolished Nürburgring Südschleife, which was 7.747 kilometers long, or about 4.8 miles long? This was the south loop of the track that was demolished once they made the new Nürburgring circuit. That's just south of the Nordschleife. So who holds the race lap record for that now demolished portion of the circuit? Is it A, Jackie Ickx, B, Ronnie Peterson, or C, Jim Clark?
I'm probably going to say Ronnie Peterson just because I want it to be Ronnie, but
I would go with Jackie Ickx.
Yeah. Any?
Well, there's only one answer left, so I'll take the remaining one.
Well, I'm gonna hold off on all the buzzers and dings and everything, because everybody's got different answers. But the correct answer is the person who knows the Nürburgring probably better than anybody else and exploited it better than anybody else throughout his career, Jackie Ickx. In sports cars and in open wheel cars, he did a race lap on the Südschleife with a time of 2 minutes and 44 seconds dead, and that was in 1968 in Formula 2.
that's an impressive lap time for that layout.
Mm-hmm. And I've driven that layout before in a sim environment, and it is not easy. Just because it's smaller than the larger 14-mile Nürburgring does not mean it is any less challenging. It is definitely a challenge, especially when you're driving 1937 W125 Mercedes. But in any case, that was the trivia question. And seeing as we've got all the interviews in, that was the race itself. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up, also, the Grand Prix of the Netherlands. There may be some cars that are available. I don't know. But in any case, that's the next race that's coming up, if Jonathan broadcasts it.
You'll probably know by Tuesday whether it's a broadcast or not.
Well, if you can let me know, then we'll supply you with the necessary trappings for said broadcast, and that's race started at 2000 CET. So I want to once again thank Jonathan for his help in covering the race, because it was a very difficult race to cover all of the action. I know that we probably missed quite a great deal of it, but we did our best to get all the essential bits throughout. But thank you again for riding along. We really, I really appreciate it very much. And for Juha and Tiago and Jonathan, this is Jason White saying so long from the Nürburgring. We'll see you next time. Everybody take care and be safe.